Hey, everybody. Hope and pray that you're doing well. Today, as we come to our word from the Word. And today, that word is will. Will. Do you have the will to weather the storm in the midst of the work that needs to be done and the warfare that's going on, right? That ties in all four things that we've talked about already this week, or three of them that we talked about this week, the fourth one being today. And tomorrow, even as we'll be in chapter 5, it ties right in with our reaction to what God is doing. But now, as we think about all of this, putting this all together, I'm going to just simply read the rest of chapter 4 today, where we left off. Because all this battle that's going on, and you see the prayers that are lifted up, and you see this is probably one of my favorite passages, or one of the favorite pictures, I guess, um, in Nehemiah. And it's a picture of a trowel and a sword, right? It's a picture of being willing to do multiple things to accomplish God's will. So let's just pick up Nehemiah chapter 4. We're going to start in verse 15 and read down to the end of the chapter. It says, and it happened when our enemies heard that it was known to us and that God had brought their plot to nothing, that all of us returned to the wall, everyone to his work. So it was from that time on that half of my servants worked at construction, while the other half held the spears, the shields, the bows, and wore armor, and the leaders were behind all the house of Judah. Those who built on the wall and those who carried burdens loaded themselves so that with one hand they worked at construction, and with the other held a weapon. Every one of the builders had his sword girded at his side as he built, and the one who sounded the trumpet was beside me. Then I said to the nobles, the rulers, and the rest of the people, the work is great and extensive, and we are separated far from one another on the wall. Wherever you hear the sound of the trumpet, rally to us there. Our God will fight for us. So we labored in the work, and half the men held the spears from daybreak until the stars appeared. At the same time, I also said to the people, let each man and his servant stay at night in Jerusalem, that they may be our guard by night and a working party by day. So neither I, my brethren, my servants, nor the men of the guard who followed me took off our clothes, except that everyone took them off for washing. In that last line there, it's basically just saying, look, we were making sure we were ready at all times. And to me, this is why I use the word will. And it's not a question of will you, it's rather a statement of the will inside of you. You know, God's will to be done. But do you have the personal and spiritual will to move on and move ahead and do whatever it takes? I love the fact that they were continuing to do the work all the while planning and preparing for the enemy to attack. I mean, this is one of those things, you can actually look to as why church security, physical security is so important. A lot of people say, oh, well, I thought you trusted God. Yes, I do trust God. But he also gave us a mind to think about the things that are going on in our world around us, knowing that the enemy wants to sneak in and do horrible things. And we see this all over our nation and all over the world today. So, I mean, that's just a side note of why even physical security is important. But that is kind of secondary to they were focused on continuing to do what God had called them to do. Now, God had called them to physically rebuild this wall. God had given Nehemiah the vision, given him the word, and he was orchestrating all of this, but it was everyone working together, as we talked about yesterday. Everyone working together to accomplish it. But it wasn't easy. And when you hear the enemy over and over again put you down and try to attack you and try to cause confusion, it's easy for your will to be broken down. Even as we were talking about Sunday, those who even right there around Paul were trying to discourage him from doing what he knew he needed to do. But it was because he had that will, that intestinal fortitude, right? To go ahead and do what God had called him to do. See, I think God is showing us all something this week from Acts 21 through Nehemiah chapter 4 to say, if God is calling you to it, he's going to see you through it. The question is, Do you have the will? And then I'll go back to even something I mentioned earlier. Are you willing to go? God bless you, and I pray you have a great, great day.